Hey, what's up guys, Anmol here for TechLekh. Hope everyone's doing well. And in this video we'll be talking about the Huawei Nova 3, its camera, its performance and how does it do as a daily driver. So let's move on. So on the outside, aesthetic wise, I do like this phone a lot, and Huawei has been doing this with most of their smartphone. I mean the gradient color back. It's unique and gives up that striking effect depending on how you're looking at it. Huawei calls it the iris purple, and it has this blue and purple gradient, and this should be a go-to choice if you're looking for that attractive looking smartphone. Well, the people will be staring at the phone and sadly not you. While this phone looks good, it is also a fingerprint and dust magnet. It has the volume button and power button on the right and hybrid SIM slot on the left. Rest of the body feels and looks like a proper 2018 flagship, metal rails, curved edges, a notch, and it's definitely not too thin. Feels solid on the hands, but it kind of feels a little light though. Moving on, we get a headphone jack, USB Type-C and a speaker at the bottom, but sadly the speaker is not stereo, it's a single down-firing speaker. Though it sounds decent, but stereo speaker would have been much better. Now it should not be a surprise that you're getting a notch in 2018. However, Nova 3 has a dual camera on the notch along with the mic. Since notch is what you do to get rid of bezels, I would say Huawei has done a nice job keeping the bezel to its minimum. The bezels on the side are almost non-existent, however there's a slight chin at the bottom, but it's an upgrade over the other phones from the Nova series. Now the fingerprint sensor is on the back of this phone. It is fast. Fingerprint sensors these days are good, and I still think that the Huawei does it better than most out there. Additionally, you can use the fingerprint sensor to take photo, answer calls, browse photos and show notification panel. Now another thing Huawei does really good is the display. It's not AMOLED, but Huawei's 6.3 inches LCD panel looks really good. It's 2340 by 1080 panel, so it's a 19.5 by 9, slightly taller than normal tall, but the LCD panel is really good. It gets bright enough to see outdoors with no problems, and there are no safety issues. It's just not up to the level of those AMOLED displays, but for a mid-range smartphone, I think it's a great display. And it also packs a 3750 mAh battery, and for a phone this slim, I think it's pretty great. And it has been giving me constantly 4+ hours of screen on time, and as for my usage, it's great. But if you use it wisely, like if you're a moderate user, you will be able to make it last almost 2 days. I think that's also possible because of the more efficient processor. So for the hardware, it's all pretty damn good. The specs inside is pretty good, you know. We are looking at 6 gigs of RAM, 120 gigs of internal storage. The chipset is alright. We have better things out here with Qualcomm, but still good enough, and experience of using this phone will come down to what you will do with Android. I won't talk too long about the EMUI, but those of you familiar with Huawei know that it's their skin on top of Android here. With this one, it's EMUI 8.2 on top of Android 8.1. I have talked about EMUI in lots of other reviews of Huawei phones, and basically what they do is throw a lot of features at you. Because really there are a lot of features here if you use it or not. There's backup and restore feature, multiple navigation feature, option to hide the notch, multiple battery saving modes with different intensities, and you can also adjust the screen resolution under the battery settings. I've used EMUI a lot, and the more you use it, the more you grow familiar with it. I think it's one of those better alternatives to stock Android if you're looking for custom skins. It's simple, yeah, the icons look a little too fancy, but the animations, different features and overall performance of the EMUI is quite decent. I have no problems with it basically. So yes, the Huawei Nova 3 has 2 cameras on the back. The main sensor is a 16 megapixel sensor with f1.8 aperture, and the second sensor is a 24 megapixel monochrome sensor with f1.8 aperture. Right off the bat, I was impressed to see that unlike other mid-range Huawei phones, it does not oversaturate images. The colors are pretty much accurate, there's nice detail and dynamic range. That's pretty much the main characteristics you'll notice about the Nova 3's camera. Yeah, the images are still over sharpened with nice contrast, but they look good. Except normal photos, you do have portrait mode and aperture mode for the bokeh effect. Images with bokeh effect have good edge detection and nice amount of blur. They're not extraordinary, but they seem pretty good. Now this sensor has f1.8 aperture and has pretty decent low light capability. I was skeptic about its low light performance at first, but it turned out to perform better than expected. Generally, it blows out the lights to capture all the details, but you can adjust it to your liking, which will result in much balanced pictures. There are a nice amount of details in night shots, but it is not always consistent. However, if you turn on the AI mode, it will detect the night scene and try to adjust the picture. Basically, the pictures have more rich color and are slightly overexposed with the AI turned on, but with this, you'll also get more noise. However, you can always turn off the AI after you have finished taking the picture. I think I prefer the night pictures without the AI turned on. So since we're talking about the AI, it is pretty good at detecting numerous scenes and provides you with better picture, but sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a mess. Largely depends on your preference. One of the things that impressed me was in outdoors, it will adjust so that you can take balanced picture without blowing out the clouds in the background. However, I noticed some weird artifacts with AI turned on in some of the pictures. Besides this, you have the HDR for better dynamic range, a dedicated monochrome with monochrome sensor, light painting, time lapse and many other features. Now talking about the experience of clicking photos with the Nova 3, I'd say it's pretty fast. The shutter speed is fast, you can switch between modes pretty easily, and the camera UI is kind of simple. Now onto the selfies, it has nice amount of details in there. You cannot count the beard though. There's HDR Pro mode, and I noticed that the detail level on the foreground is much higher when you're not using the HDR Pro mode. The HDR Pro mode, however, helps to reduce that blown out background if there are aggressive light source in the background. The front camera is pretty good with the bokeh effect too. The edges are nicely processed, though it's not perfect, it does a pretty good job. Except this, I noticed that the front camera UI changes its color to white if you're in dark environment. I guess this gives you a brighter picture. It's cheeky, but I think it's a pretty handy feature. Now onto the videos, I would have really loved it if it was as good video camera as it is a photo camera. It does have 4K support and 60fps support, but you are limited to 1080p 60fps. The 4K videos have good colors and nice detail actually, but it lacks stabilization. And same story with 1080p videos, but I like the 1080p 60fps videos. It's smoother than the rest, though it sacrifices some details to achieve it. Now one of the features is a feature called the object tracking, which is available in 1080p 30fps videos, and it works well. However, things could have been much better if it had good stabilization features as well. So at the end of the day, I think the Huawei Nova 3 is a really good phone. I like what they've gone for design wise, build quality wise, and I have to say that EMUI has been better than it's ever been. Plus it has got good battery and solid performance, and camera is good too, but I think its software is holding back it a little bit, especially in videos. So if Huawei can fix these issues with future updates, I think this will be a really good phone. So that's it for the review video of the Huawei Nova 3. I hope you guys liked the video. See you on the next one.